Hi, hello and welcome back to another Onkruid video. Back with a fan favorite from, I think, like probably more than a year ago already, or at least a year ago by now, Sporcle. If you don't know Sporcle, amazing website, just an insanely cool website where people can make quizzes for each other. So, without further ado, a random psychology quiz. Clickable psych vocab, development through the lifespan. Alright, we are matching up terms with definitions, or with their definitions that are related to development or developmental psychology, which is the psychology that studies the development of human beings. Most of the time from a very evolutionary perspective, that's definitely two intertwined domains. Let's see. Biological growth processes that enable orderly changes in behavior relatively uninfluenced by experience. I would have thought that it would have just been learning because of the first part, but uninfluenced by experience. So it's something that is kind of programmed in our human nature, I guess. Might be imprinting? It might be imprinting, but I'm gonna keep it open for now. In Piaget's theory, famous for his stages theory about stages of development, in which a child learns to use language but does not yet comprehend the mental operations of concrete logic. So that's not going to be the concrete operational stage because they can't do that yet. What other stages do we have? The pre-operational stage, that makes a whole lot of sense. Or is it still the sensory motor stage? I don't think that's correct. I think sensory motor is probably going to be even before this. And I think we are going to be looking for pre-operational stage. The developing human organism from 9 weeks after conception until birth. It might be zygote, it could be fetus. I think 9 weeks after conception until birth. I think embryo and fetus. It's gonna be embryo or fetus. It's not gonna be zygote. Zygote is a lot earlier, but I'm gonna keep it open for now. From about 7 to 11 years. And they can think logical about events. That's probably gonna be the concrete operational stage then, I would presume. Hell yeah. The awareness that things continue to exist even when not perceived, that is object permanence. Where is it? Right here. Very cool experiments with that concept of, for example, kids being shown like a carrot moving horizontally, moving behind the screen and then coming back out on the other side, and they're like, what happened to the carrot when it was behind the screen? And they see if kids say like, oh, it just was moving along but I couldn't see it, or they say it disappears, it was gone. That principle that properties such as mass, volume and number remain the same despite changes in the form of objects. Is this gonna be like basic trust or something? I have no idea what this could be. Adapting our current understandings to incorporate new information. Well, that's again learning, but is that maybe imprinting? I know, we're gonna speed it up and it's harder than I thought. Physical and cognitive abnormalities in children caused by a pregnant woman's heavily drinking, that's fetal alcohol syndrome. People's ideas about their own and others' mental states, about their feelings, perceptions and thoughts, and the behaviors these might predict. Their own and others' mental states, the theory of mind, right? Absolutely. In Piaget's theory, the stage from nearly 2 years of age, know the world mostly in terms of sensory impressions and motor activities, of course, sensory motor stage. Agents such as chemicals and viruses that can reach the embryo or fetus during prenatal development and cause harm, those are teratogens. Might not be the correct pronunciation, but either way. The process by which certain animals form strong attachments during early life. Well, that's just attachment, right? Right? Interpreting our new experiences in terms of our existing schemas. The we aspect of our self-concept, the part of our answer to who am I that comes from our group memberships. Social identity, a branch of psychology that studies throughout the lifespan as developmental psychology, the period of sexual maturation during which a person becomes capable of reproducing, that's puberty. In Piaget's theory, the pre-operational child's difficulty taking another point of view. Egocentrism, probably? Hell yeah. All the mental activities associated with thinking, knowing, remembering, and communicating. Thinking, knowing, remembering, and communicating. That's just cognition, right? The developing human organism from about 2 weeks through the 2nd month, so we really need to start thinking about what these things are. This is going to be embryo, right? Or is it fetus, embryo, fetus, embryo? Yes. All our thoughts and feelings about ourselves, and the answer to the question, who am I? That's our self-concept. According to Erikson, another guy with theories about development, also in stages, I believe. A sense that the world is predictable and trustworthy. That's going to be basic trust. Never heard of it, but the question can give it away. The fertilized egg, that's the zygote. An emotional tie with another person, that's attachment. The fear of strangers that infants commonly display, beginning by about 8 months of age, stranger anxiety, xenophobia in later life stages. A period from about age 18 to the mid-20s when many in Western cultures are no longer adolescents but have achieved full independence as adults. That's gonna be adolescence probably, right? But I mean, adolescence is in there, so is that really, or emerging adulthood? The transition period from childhood to adulthood, extending from puberty to independence. Adolescence, emerging adulthood? A concept or framework that organizes and interprets information. That's a schema or a scheme. An optimal period in early life of an organism and exposure to certain stimuli or experiences produces normal development. That's a critical period very well known for learning language from the age of 2 to 5. Erikson's theory, the ability to form close, loving relationships, a primary development task. Intimacy, absolutely. Decreasing responsiveness with repeated stimulation, that's habituation. Here we go, biological growth processes. That's maturation. The developing human organism from 9 weeks until birth. That's the fetus. The principle that properties such as mass and stuff keep the same is probably going to be conservation. Adapting our understanding to incorporate new information, that has to be assimilation, or is it accommodation? The process by which certain animals form strong attachments during early life. Imprinting. Interpreting our new experience in terms of our existing schemes. Accommodation or assimilation. A period from about 18 to the transitions from childhood to adolescence. Emerging adulthood. Adapting our current understandings is assimilation. Fuck! That's really sad. Oh, that's so sad. That's so stupid. Alright, well, accommodation is adapting our understandings to incorporate new information. Yeah, accommodating is changing something, right? So adapting, and interpreting in terms of existing schemes is assimilation. I'll never forget it, that's for sure. I also will never forget that Erikson is the one who talked about the basic trust. That's maybe a great quiz question, which is exactly what we just did, by the way. Solve a quiz, I guess. But let's hit us up with another one. This was quite nice. There were quite some terms in there that I wouldn't necessarily associate with developmental psychology, especially habituation, for example. Habituation is definitely a concept of learning psychology, which is more on the cognitive behavioral side of things. But either way, some interesting topics. Great to refresh the concepts of fetuses, embryos, zygotes, the pre-operational stage, the operational stage, the concrete operational stage, sensory motor stage. Critical periods is also a concept I would like to keep in my array of available knowledge. Let's hit us up with one more. Let's hit us up with another random psychology quiz, please. Can you name the female villain based on her psychological profile? If Azula from Avatar The Last Airbender is in here, yeah, sure. If any other female villain is in here, no. Oh, what's going on? I have no idea who these girls are. I literally don't know any of them. Can you complete the psychologist's quotes? Probably not. I am normally very bad at this, but I'll try. No idea who this is. All psychopaths are in prison. Some are in the, might be boardroom. It's definitely known that psychopaths or sociopaths is a term from psychoanalysis that is kind of dated. They are sociopaths, they have antisocial disorder. It's kind of well known that those people most of the time possess the characteristics and the features of somebody that could become successful in a very capitalistic industrial world where you need to be assertive and you need to stand your ground to climb up the corporate ladder. It's probably gonna be boardroom, definitely, yeah. The that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. The shoe, probably. Probably the shoe, right? Hell yeah. Sometimes you make the right decisions. Sometimes you make the decision... I don't know that. It sounds like it could be yourself. That fits the sentence. And then what would the meaning be? Sometimes you make the right decision. Sometimes you make the decision yourself. Sounds deep. I'm 14 and this is deep. People tend to look at dating sort of like a... they're trying to land the trophy. Something like a contest or a system, a safari, landing a trophy, not in a sense of like a medallion or a cup, but in the actual sense of a killed animal, a poached animal, like a moose head on top of your wall, above your fireplace while you're drinking a nice cup of hot cocoa, reminiscing about all the innocent animals' lives you took, you whore. The world's happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by, that's gonna be something like, something very aversive, right? Torture, insanity, either torture or insanity, probably, or death. Jung, Nietzsche, Freud, all those early psychoanalysis people are all in a sense connected in a way that, in my opinion, they say like, hey, life can suck and has to suck sometimes. A man who has not passed through the of his passions has never overcome them. Might be Inferno, no idea though. If one does not understand the person, one tends to regard him as a fool. The person that made this quiz was definitely a fan of Jung, I can tell you that much. Is this Jordan Peterson? Confidentiality is an and well-warranted social value. Is an ancient and well-warranted social value? Sure. The genetic you and the neural you aren't alternatives to the conscious you. They are its foundations? Probably its foundations, right? Yeah. Let me go back to that. Oh, I can't go back to that. I want to talk about that afterwards if I remember. Sometimes you just got to give what you wish someone else would give you. Yourself. What you wish someone else would give you. That's definitely true. You don't always have to wait for validation from outside, for example. Try to be supportive of your own endeavors in life. The beliefs concerning reincarnation have great ethical impact on human life and our relationship to the world. Yeah. Bill Gates can't... Caesar Milan, isn't this the guy? Yeah, this is the dog whisperer. Bill Gates can't control a high-level energy dog because his energy is very low, very calm, very intellectual. A dog doesn't see that as a threat system. Bonum? I don't know what bonum is. Elimination of the fear of transforms the individual's way of being in the world. That might be death, that might be darkness. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The only people are the ones you don't know very well. Only right people? Only normal people. It sounds like normal people, right? Normal people, hell yeah. The only normal people are the ones you don't know very well. Is that trying to say like, when you think about the people you know, everybody has their quirks, everybody is on one of the spectrums of a mental disorder, maybe everybody has something wrong with them? I don't know. Genius is one of the many forms of insanity. Oh, that's a beautiful quote. Genius is one of the many forms of insanity. People that are really experts in their fields and that are really like driven to achieve the most satisfaction from their academic experiences, that are really driven to go to the fullest extent of their mental capacities, they are sometimes bordering on the insane because they invest so much into it. The isn't stupid, but the people in it are. Religion? System. I strongly disapprove of and have never and would never provide assistance in its process. Torture, probably. Seligman, what did he do again? I know that name, but I can't really remember what he is. Oh, beautiful. A Yalom quote in there. Famous existential psychotherapist from the client-centered field. Somebody I look up to and an author I have read in the past also. One of his books is in the closet right here in the bookcase. When people don't have any about themselves, that is always a bad sign. Sadness? Sadness or curiosity? One of both. I don't remember that quote having popped up anywhere. There is a very intimate connection between hypnotic phenomena and curiosity, darkness. We're gonna have to step it up a little bit. Knowing your own is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. There's gonna be darkness. We need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 hugs a day for maintenance. We need 12 hugs a day for growth. Hell yeah. If you insist that individual rights are the summum, then the whole structure of society falls down. B.F. Skinner, famous behaviorist. You might all know the Skinner box, where he puts cats into a box to teach them behavior on themselves. They pull all kinds of levers, and when they get out of the box, they get rewarded with food. And after a while, they start to pull the right lever automatically. Operant conditioning. If you insist that individual rights are the summum, then the whole structure of society falls down. Are the summum... It's not leadership, right? Is this maybe bonum? I don't know what bonum means. If you only have a you tend to see every problem as a nail, a hammer. Yeah. Maslow, of course, frames from his hierarchy of needs. If you talk to God, you are praying. If God talks to you, you have schizophrenia. That's an insane quote. That's really cool. Sometimes you make the right... schizophrenia, of course, often paired with auditory hallucination. So if you hear somebody talking to you, sometimes you make the right decisions. Sometimes you make the decision right. Sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you make the decision right. Beautiful. Seems to resemble something about cognitive dissonance, where sometimes you decide upon something because you like it, but other times you don't get that privilege and you have to stick with whatever is given to you. Cognitive dissonance theory states that after then receiving that option that you didn't want, you're gonna change your mentality about it, you're gonna change your cognitions about it, and you're gonna like it more. To kind of make up for the fact that you didn't get what you want, you pretend that what you actually got is what you want. Sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you make the decision right. The word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by it's gonna be death or sadness. No, sadness, of course sadness. A man who has not passed through the of his passions. It has to be inferno, right? Yeah, beautiful. Bill Gates can control. A dog doesn't see that as a leadership? No, it doesn't see that as leadership, of course. There was no there at all. The elimination of the fear of death, for sure. And people don't have any curiosity about themselves, right? There is a very intimate connection between hypnotic phenomena and probably religion. Yeah, and I thought this was gonna be bonum, and bonum is probably gonna mean something about like the good part of things, right? There was one I still wanted to talk about, right? It was this one, right? The genetic you and the neural you aren't alternatives to the conscious you. They are its foundations. So that's clearly a point of view from someone that is not really materialistic. Yeah, what I'm saying is correct. He is not materialistic, but he believes in something more than just the matter that we are. And that's something I must agree with as well. I kind of get annoyed by people like Dick Swab that pose that we are our brains and that there's nothing more to us than just the neurons firing in our head. I mean, the human consciousness is something so intricate and something so confusing that in my opinion it has to be from a higher principle than just what's existing in a matter sense, if that makes any sense. It's more, this is a Gestalt principle, sort of school inside psychology, Gestalt psychology, but I think that our consciousness is more than just the sum of its parts. We are all so unique and so diverse, and our consciousness can take such crazy turns and develop such crazy schemes of thinking about the world and stuff that I think it has to be of a different class of entities than whatever is just inside this old noggin of yours, right? So Paul Bloom, I agree, my brother, I agree. That's it for now. That was fun. Thank you all very much for watching another one of these Psychology Sporcle videos. It's such a blast to record these. It makes some of the neural connections in my mind that were died down a bit, that were collecting dust, it makes them spruce up a bit again, turn on like Christmas lights. The cogs in there start turning, the wheels are turning. And it's just fun. It's fun to showcase some of my ideas about the world and some of the things I picked up during my 5 years of education. But there's definitely some things I've already forgotten. There used to be a stage where I could just be like, oh, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that is of course physical safety, social safety, self-confidence, and then self-actualization. I'm missing one in between and they're probably not even the right terms. Or I could be like, oh, Erikson's stages of development and Piaget's stages of development. Yeah, I can name all of those from the top of my head. That's not possible anymore. And maybe that's good. Maybe I've made place for some more practical knowledge that I will actually need in the future. But either way, just fun. Just fun. And you have to have fun in life sometimes. Don't listen to Nietzsche or Freud or whatever kind of psychoanalyst cunt is trying to tell you that you have to suffer sadness. No, life can be enjoyable. Take it from me, a client-centered homie. Peace. See you later.